Okay guys, what we got today is a 1957 Chevy. It says Bel Air on it. I think they call these a 210. It's got I don't know if it's a Vortec engine. I don't know if it's a 5.7 or if it's been bored out. The customer doesn't know anything about it. I don't know if it's a 383, whatever. A lot of things were done to this. This is not meant to be a negative video, but this is gonna tell you why normal shops do not take classic cars anymore. So this customer had this car in a body shop for 7 years. Somebody else installed the engine and transmission, and it's got power disc brakes, and it's got a rack and pinion, and obviously a 4-core radiator. So I watched this get unloaded from a trailer like approximately 5 years ago. It was running terrible, smoking, backfiring, popping out of the exhaust and everything. It's been pretty well restored. I don't know how bad it was originally. Got a nice white top. So it sat, like I said, for at least 5 years. The customer couldn't drive it. He's an 80 years old now. He's a neighbor of mine. And so last year I just went over there to see if we can get the car running for him. And the first thing we noticed is the radiator was empty. And come to find out, the lower radiator hose, somebody had tried to fit a radiator hose on it, cut it too short or something, and they sliced the radiator hose. So it had a leak in it. So it was empty probably for several years. When I drained it this time, I fixed the little radiator hose, put antifreeze in it. We got it running for him. I was able to take this valve cover off because I could tell it was popping through the exhaust. I adjusted the valves. They were adjusted too tight. Several of them were, so it was just firing through the valves. But I couldn't get the other one off because they got that radiator fitting basically over the valve cover, so I didn't want to mess with it at that time, loosen up the radiator, take the hose off and all that, but I've done it now. So what I brought this over here for, so we did a tune-up and everything, and we got it running, but it was still not running good. The spark plugs, I couldn't take all the spark plugs out because of the headers that are on it. That's pretty common with small block Chevys if you have one. So what I did, and it basically was burning through a couple of spark plug wires too. So I knew, and then also the fans were not working at all. So I just hot wired them to work all the time at that time, just so he could drive it. So I knew I was going to do a few things. I brought it over here a couple days ago, and I put some, I knew I was going to put a temperature fan control switch. It was real easy. I ordered it off of Amazon. I want to say it was like $30 or something for a dual fan. Got a couple relays on there. It was pretty easy. Came with instructions. It was actually super easy. Since I had already hot wired it anyway, I was able to use a lot of the wires. So I got that taken care of. The fan comes on when it's supposed to, goes off when it's supposed to. I loosened up the heater hose, got the other valve cover off, adjusted the valves, took this exhaust manifold off, massaged the tubes, put shorty spark plugs in it, and then put new wires on it. Still was not running good. We came to find out that the distributor was basically, well, it's a tooth off at least. We went ahead and moved the wires to get it to run good now. The oil filter is touching the header flange, just barely touching. So I put a short one on there, oil filter, and it's still barely touching, but it's better than what it was. I'll have to maybe grind that flange a little bit. What else? The power steering, last year the power steering was just totally leaking out. The hose was just not tightened properly. So took care of that. There was no grounds at all on the motor, so I put a motor ground on it, and I don't know if I did this right, but I put a ground off of the battery negative to the body. So hopefully that takes care of that too. So I got it to where it runs good. It was running. The reason I found out that the distributor was not in the proper location is after it warmed up, it would would start really slow, crank really slow, like I had a bad starter, but it's got a mini starter on it that's somewhat new. So I took it off anyway, and of course the wire was loose, the main power wire was loose on there, and I just, you know, sanded off the fitting and everything, and made sure it had good contact and all that, put that back on. But it was still doing it when it got warm. So that's when we switched the wires over, and I was able to get more timing out of it because the vacuum canister was hitting the intake manifold. So now it's all the way back. This still has the old style timing tab on it, and you can't see where, you know, this is a Vortec engine. I think it was supposed to have a timing mark, timing bracket, basically just directly underneath the water pump there, but there's no way to see anything. If it's there, I can't see it. So I basically used a vacuum gauge to time it as best I could, got as much vacuum out of it as I can, adjusted the carb, it adjusted out, everything's good, it runs good, starts good, everything. It was getting second gear scratch. It must have a shift kit in it without even trying. I was just normally driving it, and it no problems whatsoever. But then after about 5 minutes, it started making a groaning sound in the back. I thought maybe, okay, there's possibly rust on the drums because it's been sitting so long, you know. But of course, the rear end is bone dry. So what I was going to do, I was just going to do the fan, adjust the valves, fix the spark plugs, fix the header. But, you know, now we're doing the rear end. It needs, the transmission wasn't on the dipstick at all, the transmission fluid. So I'll go ahead and put fluid in the rear end, and I was also going to change the location of the electric fuel pump, because when I first saw it last year, it was kinked. The gas line was kinked because they have the fuel pump really close to the gas tank, and there was no way to if you ran a direct line to it, it would kink. There was no way to put a normal one on there. So I just, for a quick fix, I did just a little rubber hose S-turn just so it wouldn't have a kink in it. But I'm pretty sure these electric fuel pumps are supposed to be low, not high, above the gas tank. So I guess I'm going to try to mount it maybe in this location where it's the same level as the gas tank pretty much. Maybe get over, I'm trying to figure out where on the frame rail I can mount it. I'm not totally sure. That's up there, you know, above the gas tank again. I don't know, maybe there's a space over here. Nope, there's no space. So I don't know. I'm gonna get it down though, a little bit lower. It seems to be working, but obviously the rear end is bone dry. I took the cap off, nothing came out, and then, you know, nothing. So we'll take care of that. I guess I should have known better. I should have checked everything out. Oh, also, when I was under there changing the starter and all that, I noticed that the ball joints did not have any cotter pins in them, and then one of them was loose where I could just turn it with my finger. So I went ahead and tightened those up. Looks like they took it off the frame and everything. It looks really nice. The frame's all painted, new bushings and everything. So they obviously had it off the frame. So, like I said, it was in a body shop for 7 years, and it has receipts for all sorts of new trim pieces and everything. I don't know if there's supposed to be a screw there or not, but a lot of this trim isn't even polished. It's satin, so they didn't polish it, you know. Satin. It's missing the thing there. And then I also noticed the paint's popping right here, and I can see where it's even raised right here. So this is all going to pop off right here, and you can see there's rust right there. So looks like they just painted. This just flaked off just yesterday, I think, and you can see there's rust underneath it. So that happens. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a raised spot right there going to pop off. There's a place on the hood here somewhere. Oh, right down there. Don't know what happened there. That's going to pop off. So yeah, this is why shops don't, you know, take these old cars. The temperature gauge does not work. The fuel gauge does not work. The speedometer does not work. So we'll just keep working at it and go from there. So yeah, 1957 Chevy. We're gonna get this running for him so he can at least take it to the ball games. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this or not, but the I use shorter spark plugs, and the boots are still touching the headers on this Vortec head 350 with these shorty, well, I don't know if they're shorty headers or what, but anyway, we'll see what we can do here, see if we can get this crimped in a little bit. All right, so we got the valves adjusted. No more noise, no more looseness. You know, just barely, not like it was. Now it's running smooth. On that side, there was no popping or backfiring over there. So now we'll move on to the next thing. And I basically just set them at, you know, just loosened them up all again just to make sure they weren't over tightened until I could feel the push rod move slightly up and down, and then I tightened them up to it did not move up and down easily, and then we went ahead and did the 3/4 turn adjustment after turning it over several times to make sure every valve was adjusted. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and remember this video is not for educational purposes, it's for entertainment purposes only because I have no idea what I'm doing. Thank you.
If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.